Well, some of you know that the engine in my 2022 Tundra went out a little while back, and so I wanted to go over the process of what all happened from the beginning to where we are today, with obviously my truck back here again. So I bought the truck brand new, 0 miles on it. The build date is 08/22. It is a Crewmax SR5 premium package. It's four-wheel drive. Um, Truck has been great. I had a few little concerns with like noises and rattles and whatever. I had it to the dealership, I think, 3 different times for whistling noises and just wind noise problems. But besides that, it's been really great. It's the most comfortable vehicle I've ever owned. It tows really great. In factory form, before I lifted it and things like that, I was getting over 20 miles per gallon. So overall, really, really good truck. I didn't really have any complaints. Had taken it on multiple trips, and the last trip that I took it on was from DFW area, south of DFW. We were going to go to Corpus Christi, Texas, and about halfway through, 3 hours into the trip, the engine locked up on the highway, and I had 16,000 miles, just above 16,000 miles, and had some lights on the dash. Pretty much said, what did it say? Power steering failure or something like that, which really is just associated with the engine being off. But yeah, engine locked up. Truck just slowly coasted down. I was doing about 75 miles an hour on the highway. It's 105 degrees outside, and I had my wife and kids in the car with me. That part was really miserable. We were not on a road that you could get a ride. It was like a one-way toll road for miles and miles. I think 18 miles in either direction. So figuring that situation out was hard. Also, it was the end of a day on a Saturday. So luckily, we were able to get an Uber driver. Had no signal, but got an Uber driver and got him to go to a side road and like hiked the kids through a bunch of like this huge field up and down a massive hill. I think it was 50-foot incline. Got rid of the kids. The wife took the kids to the dealership. There was a dealership down the road that said, "Hey, if you can get here in a few minutes, we're about to close, but we'll try to take care of you." So they got there to the dealership. People were super nice at the front desk. As they were closing, we were able to get a rental car. So, I mean, odds were stacked against us as far as getting out of there for the day. But, you know, God had us just in his plans, and everything worked out well. We were able to get a 2023 Toyota 4Runner, which is a terrible vehicle. I would be really upset if I bought one of those things, if I paid 50 grand for a 4Runner. Just miserable car. But anyway, so we had that for about 2 months. Better than nothing, so I'll stop my complaining. We had that for 2 months. We were a little bit over 70 days, and the dealership calls me yesterday, says the truck is ready. Before that, they hadn't really given me a whole lot of information. Unfortunately, I never was able to talk to my service advisor the entire time. He would send me text messages like after hours. It was super strange. Never could get a hold of him. I even tried calling like the front desk and other departments in the Toyota dealership just to say, hey, like, you know, can I get an update on my truck or whatever? And yeah, I'd never talked to him once on the phone. Today was the first day I had ever even seen him. So that was a little disappointing. What it made it all a little bit more difficult was that we were 3 hours away, right? So Toyota wouldn't cover towing the vehicle back to where we live. So they towed it an hour to San Marcos. And then, so that means today I had to drive back. Well, they called me yesterday and they said, hey, your truck is done and we need you to come get it. So, okay, great. I'll make some plans to come pick it up. I'm going to be out of town this weekend. I own a mechanic shop, so like, you know, don't have a whole lot of leeway during the week. And they said, oh, well, we'll give you a day of leeway. So if you don't come get it, then we're gonna charge you for the rental. So my goodness, man, like they can have my truck for 70 days with no explanation, but I have 1 day to make a 6-hour round trip to go pick up my truck from them. So, I mean, luckily, you know, I co-own the shop with my brother-in-law, so he's able to take over when I'm not there. So work wasn't an issue, but still, I mean, I've got to make a 6-hour round trip and get back in time to pick up kids from school. So I left at 7 a.m. today. I'm gonna go pick up kids here in like 10 minutes. But anyway, got through all of that, went through the paperwork with him, and 100% everything was covered. Rental was covered, every repair was covered. What they ended up finding was a spun connecting rod bearing, is what they said, which kind of adds up to the other trucks that have had issues around my same build date. It's all been bearing problems. I had all my oil changes on time, didn't do anything weird. There have been no modifications to the truck besides the lift kit and tires, which they didn't give me any headache about at all. So, but yeah, all in all, it was a little over $30,000 in repair damage, which is pretty substantial when you consider that that's about the down payment I put on my truck, about half the value. So really, really wild. These things are crazy expensive, anything turbocharged and anything new. But truck drove well on the way back. I averaged 19.6 miles per gallon on the dash, which actually ends up being a little higher because I have larger tires. So I actually did a little bit more miles than that. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to go from here, to tell you the truth, because for a brand new truck to fail at that mileage is a little disconcerting. You know, from a mechanic point of view, and like owning a shop and being around vehicles my entire life, I would always say, hey, do not buy a first year of anything. It was an interesting situation why I bought this. I had my back surgery going on and a bunch of other stuff, and me and the wife talked, and we said, hey, maybe it's a good time to pick up something that I'm not having to tinker with, and I'm not tempted to tinker with, right? To take it easy on my back for a good while. Well, you see where that landed me. Not as reliable as we would have hoped. Oh, I think I forgot to mention what they replaced. So anyway, I'm sorry. They replaced the entire short block, not the heads, but everything, like, you know, the pistons and the rods, the whole entire bottom end. They replaced all of the camshafts. They replaced all the timing components, and they replaced all the lifters. What else did they do? Also, an oil pan and a pickup tube. So there were a couple other pieces associated with that, which would have been like all the gaskets and head bolts and things like that, some other non-reusable hardware. But anyway, all of that stuff is what they did, and they drove it 10 miles to confirm. So that's pretty much where it's at. I went ahead and a month and a half in, somewhere around that point, I went ahead and filed lemon law paperwork because I was getting kind of worried hearing all the stuff about shortages. I mean, I know at my shop sometimes I can't get parts. So here we are a month and a half out. I still can't get a hold of the service writer except for a few text messages. And I still don't have my vehicle that I spent a lot of money on. So I said, you know what, I better cover my bases, and I filed lemon law paperwork. It was pretty easy. It was all online. I needed the original purchase form from when I bought the truck and a bunch of other information. And after I filled it out with the DMV, maybe 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks after that, I got an email and a call. And pretty much kicked off the paperwork from there. So I still have that going. Toyota has called me about it, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do at this point. Let's say this kind of catastrophic failure happens out of warranty. Like, what are you going to do? You know, I mean, I can't imagine paying $60,000 for a truck, and then 5 years later, after you pay it off, you've got to drop another $30,000 in repairs. I mean, it just seems a little insane to me. So although I love the truck, and like I said, it's the most comfortable truck I've ever had. I mean, I can sit in this thing for 6 hours, and I have. I've sat in it for, I mean, many hours on straight road trips. I just don't know that I'm willing to deal with that kind of potential catastrophic failure again. But anyway, we're going to see how it goes. I'll do a video on it no matter what. But let me know what you have to say about it in the comments. Do you have any experience with lemon law stuff? Have you ever had a brand new vehicle like this have this kind of problem? I'd like to hear about it. So let me know in the comments. We'll do a little walk around of the truck just so you can kind of see what it looks like. It's been in a few videos already. I did a fender flare video on it, and a wind noise video, and maybe something else. So I've got an Icon Stage 4 lift kit in the front, and in the rear I'm running Dobinson's IMS in the back. Their shocks are far superior to anything else I've ever used. The things that I've done to the truck are the bed cover, the step, wheels and tires, obviously, lift kit, and then I put fender flares on because I wanted to save my paint. With the offset of these tires, it was throwing rocks. But the only thing I noticed under the hood is just very dirty. So I'm a little disappointed about that. I mean, I don't know. I guess I can't complain. a whole lot because it was all free, but at the same time, like I own a shop and like I would at least clean things up when I'm done, you know. Interior was nice. I didn't notice anything weird going on in there, but under the hood there's like coolant everywhere, and it's that stupid Toyota pink coolant. It's all over the place. So like I guess maybe this was loose when they went for a test drive, and it shot up everywhere. It's like all over here, all over the firewall back there, on like the air box, on the electrical connectors, back here on the battery. And yeah, I don't know, it's just a little like kind of dirty, which is disappointing. There's like coolant up in there that's been spilled and splattered everywhere, leaking from the bottle. But whatever, I guess I won't complain anymore. Hopefully I'll have an update for you soon on whether I keep the truck or whether we let it go. Thanks for watching.